Guys, Cindy here. It is spring on the farm, and that means baby chicks. This year, we're going to be doing something that is completely new to us. We're getting some of the Cornish cross meat birds. Going to see how those go. We're just getting those for ourselves to stock up in the freezer and get a little bit ahead of the game. Now, in the past, we have hatched and raised our own birds. We just wanted to try something different to see what all the hubbub is about. We don't intend to continue with the Cornish cross because they are not self-sustaining. That's why we're working on increasing the size of our Delaware. Today we're going to get the brooder set up. Gil is outside. He is working on getting the chicken tractor ready for whenever they are ready to go outside.
Hey guys, Gil with Tanglewood Croft here. Man, I hope you guys are having a little better day than I have. Starting to build on a chicken tractor. It's based on Justin Rhodes' design, but we're modifying it for meat chickens. We're not going to put the nest boxes in it. His is just a little over 3.5 foot wide and a little under 8 feet long. We're making ours basically 8 by 8. But let me turn you around here and I will show you what I ran into. So here's how I'm set up on sawhorses. Trying to get the frame together. I put this first part together. A little backstory, we bought what they call stud length boards, which basically means, for those of you that don't know, they're not true 8 feet long. It's so that when they put in the header, build their stud walls, your interior partition walls or your exterior walls, once they put in the header and footer, it's a true 8 foot tall. So these are a little over 7 foot 9 inches. Now my brother come over Sunday with his portable table saw, ripped these are 2x4s, and he ripped them into 2x2s for us so we could use it to build the main frame of this thing. Now, this morning, earlier, I put this together and was having trouble getting that fourth cross brace there. So, what I did was I started another one on top of it. I thought, well, I can use it to hold the second one together and get the whole thing together, and then put this one on top of the second one so I can put that final board in. Well, I got to putting things together, and the board I had right here, now I've redone it, was longer than when I put on top of it. Started comparing boards, figured out we had gotten a true 8 foot board in our bundle of stud boards. So I changed this board out and found its mate. Thought, okay, now I've got that done. Well, then it turned out that this board was also a true 8 foot. So then I had to take it out and replace it. Now I've got them separated right here. Now the plus to this is, once this frame, this thing is going to be about 2 feet high, and there will be diagonal braces running on either side and probably on the ends, since this one is wider than Justin's original design. For those of you who would like to see that design, best way I know to tell you to do it is becoming a member of his Abundant Permaculture group, and he has the plans on there. Him and Jason Contreras from Sow the Land got together, and I guess Jason has some engineering training, so he drew up the actual plans for them. They're made to have 2 nest boxes and be really easy to move, with a little door on the end and the top being a door. We are going to dispense with the door on the end because we're not going to be able to let them out, run around in the yard. But we're going to be getting Cornish cross to raise for meat birds. If you're intending to do that, let me tell you right quick, the hatchery, we're getting them from Cackle Hatchery, which is up by Lebanon, Missouri. It's a little bit of a drive for us, but we figure it takes some of the stress off if we drive up there and get the birds ourselves. We had a shipment. We were supposed to go up and get some last week, but because of the polar vortex and the ice and snow, Cackle postponed their orders. My wife got to checking for our second batch, and they are booked up already through June, and that's just one hatchery. So anyway, let me get you set up here, and just remember, if you're wanting birds and probably seeds from some of the things I'm seeing on other channels, you probably better get on it. So give me a minute here to get set up, and you can watch me work my so-called magic. So I've got the two frames built, as you saw. Next step would be getting the two uprights, or the uprights, on, and then diagonals. That'll form it into an actual, tractor. We don't have our hardware cloth we're going to use yet. We probably don't have all the tin that we need to give them a closed end. As you can hear, some of my beggars are around here. Anytime I'm out, they come around hoping for food. There's the start to this year's chicken tractor. I'm hoping I've learned my lessons. You saw me maybe drilling holes in some part of that. Pre-drilling holes. Our first chicken tractor, I didn't do that. And we used 1x2s. And it held up through one batch of beaten birds, and by the time that was over with, it was falling apart. So you can see one example of a chicken tractor, and we'll keep you posted on how this thing performs for us.
So, as we've shown you before, we just use the regular plastic tubs that you can get at Walmart for our brooder. And this one, I've put some cardboard in the bottom of it for two reasons. Number one, that will help absorb some of the moisture and odor. And the last time we used it and cleaned it out, we got a crack in the bottom. Okay, I have put some pine shavings in there. Got the bag of those at Tractor Supply for about $4. And I've only got maybe an inch or so of these in here. Maybe 2 inches. I know a lot of people like to put it deeper. If you have an outdoor brooder, you probably want about 1 foot of shavings in there. But the truth is that if I were to do that in this tub, those little chicks would be hopping right off the top. Now I've got the heater put in. We do not use heat lights for a couple of reasons. The main one being that we are really lazy. And with this heat plate, the chicks can get up underneath. There's a couple inches under there. They can get warm if they feel a little bit of a chill. If they get too warm, they can come out and wander around the rest of the brooder. Now, I've seen quite a few of these on Amazon. We got this one at Tractor Supply. I really like this model. You can either set it in the brooder, or if you're someone that wants to put heat in your coop, you can turn it on its side and use it that way. The control has either a brooder or a heater setting, depending on what you're using it for, and it's about $35. I love the fact that we don't have a light going all night and keeping the chicks up. This gives them a little bit more normal lighting. We do keep the light on during the day. About an hour before we go to bed, we turn it off. They get used to that routine better than having a light on them 24 hours a day.
Hey folks, hope you'll forgive me if I sound a little mealy-mouthed. I have a little bit of a story right here, can't put my teeth in, which was something I didn't intend to do, but hey, I'm supposed to be showing real life on the channel, and yeah, I wear dentures. It's a beautiful day. Temperatures up in the 60s. Sun is shining, as you can probably see kind of behind me. And I'm going to try to at least get those corner braces cut. So this is some scraps. You can see I've already got my tools out here. These are some scraps from previous projects that we've done, like the doors on the hoop coops and such. And I like to keep things like this around because you never know when you can use them. And I've got plenty here, I think, maybe for this entire coop. I'm going to put them right in here in each corner. These are the main top and bottom frames, but I'll probably want to put them almost in every corner because, like I said, we had kind of a bad experience with that last chicken tractor. It didn't stay together good. All we had were the little metal corner braces, and the stresses of moving these tractors, yeah, you need to reinforce them. That's the bottom line to it. So I'm going to get busy cutting some braces here, corner braces, and then try to get these frames back up on the sawhorses. I was going to try to cut them. Actually, I was going to try to cut the braces with the frame still laying up there, but they decided to fall down on me when I kind of breathed on them, I guess. Well, there you have it, folks. They ain't pretty. They're not perfect. And as you can see, I kind of learned as I went along. When I first started doing it, I was putting screws in a little bit, sort of using the screw to drill a pilot hole. And finally decided to just get a drill bit and drill a pilot hole. That way I could put the screws in and go at an angle. That's the name of this game, folks. You're always learning. I'm 55, be 56, less than a month. And I've never done this kind of thing before. I've helped a few people, but I've never done it myself. You just keep doing what you can do. And I gotta admit, I got a little frustrated. I was trying to use all that scrap. Couldn't do it like I wanted because I really need a miter saw. There's just not room to get a circular saw in there and make those cuts. I can make them on one end but not both at that 45 that I need. And I have a hard time picturing things ahead of time too, as maybe you could see. If I don't get back with you and remind you, if you like what you see, subscribe, like the video, tell your friends about us, help us grow, and come along with us as we do.
Okay guys, we are almost ready for our chicks. I've got a little feeder in here. Obviously we're not going to hang this, and it is a little bit big for this brooder, but since we're getting the Cornish cross, I want to make sure that there's enough feed available for everyone. I've got my water jar ready. This one is actually for quail. It's got a more narrow base, but I like to use it for the first few days for the chicks just because they can't get their little heads in there and drown as easily. Under our water container, we keep this little tray. It's just a meat tray with some hardware cloth zip tied to it. It has been a complete game changer for us. This little guy sits in the corner. You put your water on it. When the chicks splash, all that water goes down in the container rather than getting your shavings wet and having to change those out even more often. Other than that, the last thing we need is a cover for our brooder. We just have a big piece of hardware cloth that we have bent the corners of so it sits on there nicely. This keeps the chicks from flying out as they grow, and most importantly, it keeps our house cats from climbing in and having dinner. Let's take a minute to talk about keeping our baby birds healthy. Now, we get our birds, this time anyway, we're getting them from Cackle Hatchery, and we are fortunate enough that we live within driving distance. So our chicks are not coming in the mail. But regardless, we still want the best start for them that they can have, because they are going to have a long car ride. I got this recipe from a natural chicken keeping book. I'll put the link below because it is fabulous. What I do is the night before the chicks come, I'll get a quart of water. I put in about a half a clove of garlic, a tablespoon or so of apple cider vinegar, some thyme. Fresh is better, but I don't have any this time of year, so about a spoonful of thyme, and a tablespoon of honey. I will let this all mix together and sit overnight and put this in their water. Now, I don't know if other people have different experiences. I've used this before. We have lost one chick since I've started using this in the brooder. And I just give it until this quart jar is gone. Then I start giving them regular water. It probably doesn't taste amazing, but let's face it, chicks have some pretty strange taste buds to begin with, and they don't know any different. So that's my trick to keeping the chicks alive.
Well, folks, here's the basic frame put together. This board, this one you see lying here, I'm going to have to do a little trimming. I want to run them, one on each side, roughly diagonally like that for extra bracing. But I'm going to have to do some trimming and some figuring. My brain's just a little too tired for it today. But that gives you a rough idea of what it's going to be like. I'm going to run a board from there to there with the lids coming up from the middle, and then we'll run another one inside this frame on the bottom, so we can put some field fence on there to keep raccoons from digging under the frame and up into it and getting chickens. Because one thing about having chickens, everything wants to eat a chicken. We'll get it done, and we'll get back to you and let you see how it looks. Hey folks, it's Gil with Tanglewood Croft, and fixing to go in and pick up an order of meat birds. We'll show you some video of what it's like inside, and then we'll get back with you later.
We're in Burgering, so technically it's supposed to be 2 of us to do it, but yes, it's a whole lot. It's a lot. Here you are.
Well folks, we made it back home from the hatchery. As you can see, everybody's safe and sound. They're eating and drinking and making themselves at home. We ended up picking up 3 barnyard mixed geese while we were up there. We'll see how they do for guardian animals for our ducks. And of course the chickens are Cornish cross for our freezer. And we'll keep you updated on both of them on how they do. If you like what you see, subscribe, like the channel, and tell everybody about us.